What's going on, you guys? It's Eli with Common Sense, and I am so glad that you're joining me today. I've been doing a lot of shopping around at my local rack stores, and I actually found some really nice hidden gems for a really good price. All of these I picked up for under $20. A lot of them were even under $15. So we're gonna be looking at two of them in this video, and then I have another video coming out very shortly where I'm gonna be covering two Middle Eastern clones that I got for $13 each. So stay tuned and let's check it out. Thank you so much for joining me on today's video. And before we start the video, I'd like to just give a little reminder that if you want some really nice, affordable Middle Eastern fragrances, head on over to tripletraders.com and use my code Common Sense to save you 10%. It'll basically knock off a few bucks, and it'll also be a nice way to save you some money and support the channel. So without further ado, let's jump in. So the first hidden gem fragrance that I found is actually this one. This one is Sergio Tacchini's Pacific Blue. Now, Sergio Tacchini is a very affordable fragrance house. I haven't really seen too many fragrances. I've seen this one and then a black bottle, which I actually regret not picking up. I kind of set it down, and on the way home one day I was like, man, I really like how that's drying down on my skin, because sometimes these are left out, and man, I just loved that one. But this one, I just picked it up as soon as I sprayed it on my skin because I fell in love. As you can see, this fragrance was $12.99, so under $15. And frankly, this is one of the best fragrances that you can pick up for that price. And just the way that it smells is insane for the price. This one actually has quite a good atomizer. It pushes it out pretty far, and it's a nice, powerful spray. I gotta say, this one really surprised me. So this one has a lot of notes, but the ones that really stand out to me are the bergamot and the citruses, the marine notes, and also some nice kind of green mineralic notes as well. So up top, this one is very fresh and aquatic. So the citruses up top absolutely blew me away, because you have a really nice kind of creamy green mandarin mixed with a nice bright bergamot, and it just has a really nice kind of youthful, kind of marine-like citrus quality. So when I sprayed this one, I was immediately reminded of Davidoff's Cool Water and Bleu de Chanel. So this one has that really nice kind of aquatic green and woody undertones from the Davidoff Cool Water that just smells ultra refreshing, sporty, and just is really timeless. But it also has that nice kind of warm, kind of creamy woods and ultra modern blue kind of smell, that DNA from the Bleu de Chanel. So it's kind of the best of both of my favorite fragrances combined into one really affordable fragrance. When I sprayed this one on my wrist, I just could not stop smelling it. It just smelled so amazing, especially in the dry down. So in the dry down, you do lose a little bit of the edge from the bergamot and the green mandarin, but it smells ultra creamy, smooth, and just nice and woody and relaxing. You also get a little bit of cypress and definitely some lavender in here as well. And that lavender kind of adds to that relaxing kind of quality that, you know, I can see you spraying it on yourself before bed or after a shower or bath. And this stuff really just is perfect for out of the shower. But just really clean, a little bit soapy, but at the same time, it's very sweet, it's warm, and it's got really interesting kind of blue undertones. So for me personally, I usually try to save my money, and I don't really go for a lot of the cheapies, especially because, you know, some of them don't really last that long, and I really just want to save my money for some more expensive niche fragrances or some higher quality Middle Eastern ones. But honestly, this one, I'm okay with the price, and I'm okay with it lasting maybe 3 hours. So online, people say that this one has about 6 hours of longevity, and for me, it's really less than that. It's about 5 hours, and it's really strong for the first kind of 2 hours, and then, you know, it really starts to settle into a skin scent. So you're not going to be getting the most amazing long-lasting fragrance with this one, but it's really great for the office or really any situation for that matter. I actually sprayed this one on right before I went to a construction site and did a photo shoot. Your boy's always doing media stuff. But in reality, this one lasts about 2 to 3 hours on my skin, kind of in the sun, the kind of summer heat, and then it really starts to be a skin scent where you have to really smell it and get your nose in there. So in terms of longevity and performance, let's really be realistic, because this is a $13 fragrance. I am not expecting this to perform like, you know, a niche fragrance or something like a designer. We kind of obsess over these things, and it's really unfair sometimes when we compare these really cheap fragrances to, you know, the more expensive designers or niche fragrances, because, you know, this is a completely different price point. So you're gonna get what you put into it. But for $13, I don't mind smelling really great for about 2-3 hours and then having to spray yourself again. I can see you leaving this in your car, and it just smells incredible. And that one is Sergio Tacchini's Pacific Blue. And lastly, we're looking at English Laundry's Royal Forest. So this one, I really had no idea what this one is a clone of. English Laundry is a relatively affordable fragrance house, and they have been coming out with fragrances that are very similar and inspired by a lot of the best sellers. So they have some really nice ones that are cloning some Creed fragrances, like London is a clone of Creed Aventus, Riviera is a clone of YSL L'Homme. So there's a lot of really great affordable fragrances, and if you can find these at the rack stores, oftentimes they are about $15 or $13. This one actually didn't have a price tag, but the lady rung it up at $15, so that was a steal. You can find these on eBay for around $40 or so, so if you can find them in the rack store, definitely get it for that cheap price. It's also really interesting with the name, because with a name like Royal Forest, I would imagine that this is a lot more woody and kind of smoky and remind me of like the mountains, but that is not at all what I get from this. I get just a really creamy and kind of sweet, youthful fragrance. It's really interesting. Oh man, I gotta say, this one smells extremely high quality. It's got a nice atomizer too, just like some of the other ones, but man, I just love how this one smells. This one I haven't seen a whole lot on. There's not really a whole lot of notes I've seen online, but I have seen somewhere that there's some lemon, grapefruit, and I think some other like white florals and honey in this one. Honestly, this one smells extremely comforting, and it's really familiar, and I can't quite put my finger on it. This one's definitely familiar. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Baccarat Rouge 540, but it's got a really nice creamy twist on that. I'm also getting a little inspiration from Versace Eros. It's kind of strange because Eros, there is another fragrance that they did. I think it's Oxford Blue. That one is an Eros clone, but this one smells a little bit of a cross between Baccarat Rouge 540 and Versace Eros. So two really nice, sweet, kind of clubbing and kind of date night fragrances, but really, I like how this one smells.
After I finished recording this video, I did realize that it sort of reminded me a little bit of Paco Rabanne's 1 Million Lucky, so it has that kind of sweet, woody kind of DNA with a tiny bit of nuttiness and creaminess.
Yeah, and I remember seeing a honey note also online with also a little bit of oak moss and patchouli, but I really enjoy how this one smells, especially on the skin. I think on skin, it definitely comes off a little bit more coconutty, and it has sort of a creamy kind of white floral quality mixed with that kind of coconut vibe. Yeah, this one really takes the best of both of those worlds, because it takes that kind of citrusy, orangey kind of blast up top that you get with Versace Eros, and it also combines it with some of the kind of creamy and sweet, almost a little bit feminine leaning notes in Baccarat Rouge 540, but I think this one is definitely unisex, and man, it's really driving me crazy because I feel like I've also smelled another niche fragrance that smells just like this, but I just can't quite put my finger on it. In the dry down, you do definitely lose some of the sweetness, and it smells a little bit more creamy. I think that kind of oak moss and the patchouli does kind of come out a little bit more, but at the same time, it does still smell a little bit soapy from that kind of orange flower, that orange blossom, and you do get a little bit of that kind of honey. But in the end, this one smells really clean, a lot more high quality and less synthetic than the first one, and I'm just really shocked at the price for this one, because for $15, I'd say this is a solid pickup. And it's kind of hard to see on screen, but this is a sort of greenish blue bottle, almost like Versace Eros. I think anybody can pull this one off, especially if you're a younger person. I think maybe in your late teens or early 20s, I think you can really pull this off because it's really sweet. It's definitely energetic, but it has a nice kind of creamy backbone that makes it really nice and perfect for the spring or the summer. So on my skin, I get about 3 or 4 hours of projection on this one, and it lasts a good 6 to 7 hours. So that's not too bad, especially for 15 bucks. But again, it smells really nice for the first kind of 4 hours, and then it does kind of settle a little bit closer to your skin, but you can still catch whiffs of it throughout the day. And frankly, this one is a really good choice. And that one is English Laundry's Royal Forest. So that does it for today's video. Let me know if you've tried any of these fragrances or if you've found any nice hidden gems at your rack stores lately, because frankly, these two are fire. And I've actually worn these a lot in the past week. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Eli with Common Sense. Until the next time, bye-bye.
Hey you, go follow my TikTok. I post a lot of quick list and hidden gem videos multiple times throughout the week, so go check it out.
Pushes it out pretty far, and it's a nice powerful spray. Ooh, I taste that. It's good, but not that good that I want to drink it. Man.